believe I picked Dallas to win by a point. I will say this. Isn't it ironic? Dallas is now the healthiest team in the NFC.
Hey, perfect time, right? I mean, last year going into the playoffs, they were the hunted, right? 13-3. They had that bye week. People forget about that. You lose your momentum. This year, they're not going to have a bye week. I believe the Cowboys are the most dangerous team, should they get into the playoffs, in the NFC. I don't trust Minnesota. I know a lot of people like Minnesota. Let me see Case Keenum do something in the postseason. And the Rams, I know you love the Rams. Let's not forget, this kicker loss is huge, okay? Leading scorer in the league, 6 of 7 beyond 50 yards. Yeah. That's huge. How did Dallas lose to the Packers last year? 2 late kicks from long distance. This Dallas team, Ezekiel Elliott, we forget last year, Colin, he led the NFL in fourth quarter rushing yards.
He did.
They would just hand him the ball, plow through the opponent, and keep their defense off the field, which wasn't very good.
Yeah, no, that's a real thing for Zeke, is that Dallas's defense, though I do like their young rookie secondary guys, they're getting better. Yeah. What Zeke provides is time of possession.
They were third, I believe, in time of possession last year. They're 16th this year. That is significant.
That is
the
Zeke.
Top 5 teams in time of possession right now in the NFL are all playoff teams. Philadelphia's first. Running the football wins in January.
You know what it is? You know what it does? Running the football secures wins. So and this is something Dave Wanstead always says, you can pass for the lead, but to keep it, you got to run. And that's what Zeke provides.
And I just wonder, Minnesota in the postseason, are you scared at all of Jared McKinnon and Latavius Murray? That running attack does not scare me whatsoever. I just think Dallas has to get in, and I don't trust Atlanta whatsoever. I think they lose too. We know Detroit could get in, but Matt Stafford, let me know the last time Matt Stafford's won a big game. I like Matt Stafford a lot. He never comes up on the side of the winning
And they're
team.
in Cincinnati. Goulet, they're in Cincinnati this week. Detroit, 36 degrees and snowing.
Oh,
and remember, Detroit,
35 degrees, yes!
And Stafford under 35 degrees, and they have no running game.
Oh.
So Detroit's going to go on the road in snow, can't throw, dependent on a running game. So I actually think Cincinnati beats Detroit, which opens the door for the Cowboys.
Yeah, let me say another thing about the Cowboys. When you watch them without Zeke, their whole offense looks slower. Like Des Bryant looks slower. Cole Beasley couldn't get open. But you're talking about Alfred Morris in the backfield. And when he comes on the field, you know it's a running play because he can't catch a cold. Guy has 7 receptions this season. That's a nice game or a nice half for Zeke. I'm telling you, people are underestimating the Cowboys right now. This opportunity for Zeke to come back, and he's got something to prove. Now, remember last year, Tom Brady missed the first 4 games with suspension.
Right.
He was fresh in December. 7 TDs, 1 interception. Zeke has now sat out 6 games. He's going to be fresh. You give him 35 carries against the Seattle defense, just got shredded. The linebackers are hurt. This is a great spot for the Cowboys to sneak into the postseason. I feel they're more dangerous than last year because nobody's seeing it coming.
And here's a number. When Sean Lee, the linebacker, who is tremendous in pass coverage, when he finishes games, do you know what their record is?
7-1. 7-1. Sean Lee's, he's like Luke Kuechly for the Panthers, right? Kuechly is money when the Panthers play. When he's out, he's the quarterback of their defense, Colin. And I'm getting up on the Cowboys. I know that sounds very Skip Bayless of me, but I'm telling you, man, this team, if they get in the postseason, that's the team you should fear in the NFC.
They are the healthiest team. I agree with you. By the way, when Zeke rushes for 90 yards, they're 14-2 in his career. Sean Lee, when he finishes games, they're 7-1. Yeah. When Zeke rushes for 90, they're 14-2. Listen, Minnesota's missing a quarterback and a star running back. Philadelphia's missing a middle linebacker, a left tackle, and a quarterback. The Saints just lost Kenny Vaccaro.
That's a big
they lost their best linebacker, Klein, and Kenny Vaccaro.
And a pass rusher, Okafor, too. Yeah.
In a week. And now the Rams lost their kicker. The Cowboys are the healthiest team in the NFC.
There's a great point. And I just want to go back to the Eagles for a second. One of the dimensions nobody talks about with Carson Wentz is his running ability. Okay, escapability in the pocket for a 6'5" white guy, very impressive.
Right.
This guy has 3 carries of 20 or more yards this season. Same number as Russell Wilson. Now you switch to Nick Foles, he's immobile in the pocket. Right. I know he had a good game against the Giants, but the book is out on Foles. You blitz him, you get him off his spot, he messes up the progressions. I don't buy the Eagles in the postseason. I know a lot of people like them. I don't see it happening. I think the Cowboys will beat them in Week 17 as well.
Okay, so we were talking about this. I started my show saying the Celtics are the 401k of the NBA. They accumulate picks. It's safe. They don't take big risks. And LeBron's the poker player. And LeBron is a deal maker, and he's got guys on the phone. It's all in. They're going to make a deal maybe for Paul George, and they're going to make a deal for DeAndre Jordan. And in the NBA, maybe in society, doing the 401k is better. But in the NBA, poker players, Golden State, Daryl Morey, LeBron win titles. So Isaiah Thomas is coming back for Cleveland, who was 5th in the MVP voting last year. You don't think it's a big deal?
I mean, listen, you saw him last year in the Brad Stevens system. He was a good player in Phoenix, Sacramento. We saw what Brad Stevens did for Avery Bradley last year. Remember, he was a great player. Have you heard his name in Detroit at all this year?
What are his numbers
He's not doing as well. His numbers are down a little bit in Detroit from Boston. Jay Crowder was the other guy in Boston. Remember him? One of the best bargains in the NBA. I think he shot 39% on threes. Have you looked at his numbers in Cleveland? 30%. All his numbers are down. I'm telling you, we've talked about this for years, that Belichick system in the NFL. You come out of that system, you kind of look like an ordinary player. Brad Stevens is setting up the same thing with the Celtics. We're going to see Isaiah Thomas come out, right? 28 a game last year, second team All-NBA. I see him being like a 14-point-a-game guy. And Colin, think about this. He's looking for that max deal. He wants that $200 million contract. He's a free agent. So is he going to be content scoring 14 a game in Cleveland? He's not getting a max deal with that. And I've gone back and forth with Chris Broussard on this. He thinks it's going to be fine. I said, right now, Jose Calderon, their point guard's taking 5 shots a game. How many is Isaiah Thomas going to come in and take? Because that means shots away from LeBron, fewer shots for Kevin Love. Like, is he going to run the second unit, or has Dwayne Wade got that? I mean, Colin, you could even look at the end of the game. 5'9" point guard. Who's he guarding in crunch time? You don't need his offense. You got LeBron. You got Kevin Love. You got Wade. I don't see Isaiah Thomas helping. I think he could have hurt the Cavs more than he helps.
Well, I will say this. He is a poor defender, so he needs to score to be effective. He's like the
worst defender in the league last year, according to some metrics.
I just think, I made this argument. Kyrie and Isaiah are both awful defenders. The gap between the two, now Kyrie's the better player, but let's go. Are these their numbers last year, Sammy?
This hurts me.
Okay, no, but here are their numbers last year. So obviously, Kyrie and Isaiah, you say, well, that's Brad Stevens.
That is Brad Stevens.
Okay.
100%.
But let's go to Kyrie and Isaiah. Only games in which Brad Stevens has coached either one of them. And when you go to those numbers, it shows you that actually Kyrie Irving and Isaiah Thomas, even just under Brad Stevens, reasonably similar numbers.
I just find that so hard to believe when I watch Kyrie. He takes over games.
But Kyrie was a number 1 pick. Kyrie went to Duke. Kyrie is the brand. Never forget what Kyrie was before LeBron.
He was playing with terrible guys in Cleveland.
He was a broken down, underachieving, malcontent point guard.
Wow.
That's all I'm saying.
Kyrie, Christine, are you going to let him say this about
Kyrie's better than Isaiah Thomas. I'm saying he is. But I can give you last year, this year, Brad Stevens, Kyrie's numbers and Isaiah's numbers are reasonably close.
Listen, we're going to find out quickly how hard it is to play with LeBron.
Okay.
I want the ball running through me. I'll handle the offense. You just do what you're told. It didn't work for Kyrie, except when it came down to Game 7 and he hit the clutch shot to beat the Warriors. Is Isaiah Thomas, is he even taking that shot when you're playing with LeBron? Is he? I just don't see this. I don't know where you're coming up with this, Colin. I mean, I know the numbers are similar, but again, we're talking about a guy who was just a good player in Phoenix, and he was all of a sudden this metamorphosis into this incredible all-NBA player. You don't think that had a lot to do with Brad Stevens?
I think it had some to do with Brad Stevens, but we'll see how it plays out in a month. It's 3 weeks. I'm very excited.
I got just for the record, Celtics Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals remains a toss-up. Just remember I said that come May.
Okay.
You're not buying
Toss up maybe in Game 1. By Game 4, it's over. Coming up next, ridiculous comments made going after somebody that we all know is really good. So why do we keep questioning it? That's coming up. You know, guys, when tough weather hits, the right wiper